Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, still flying solo with these baseball videos, but feeling pretty good. Had a pretty nice day yesterday with the 3 picks that we gave out. Definitely want to make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Coming back to you each and every weekday this regular season with these MLB picks for you guys. Also want you to head to thelines.com. You can check out all the great written content that we're throwing up on the site and use that odds finder tool we have up there. I tell you guys about that every show. A great tool to see all the odds available to you right there in front of you from all these sports books that are giving us these bets this season. Get the best juice on all those bets you guys are making. I'm going to go ahead and run through a pretty decent yesterday, 2-1, up 0.22 units on the day. Only thing that screwed us was that Boston-Oakland game. Don't look now. Oakland is not winning only a fourth of their games anymore. They're winning slightly more than that. So they took Boston down fully, actually won that game 6-5, despite Justin Turner coming out and just cranking a home run to start this thing off, give them a 2-0 lead, and they could not keep it. So they did not win that game by 1.5 runs, lost that bet. But Cincinnati first 5 money line, felt great about that after we got a 3-run jack off Stripling that helped us get to the 5 there. And they ended up winning that game as well, but we just needed the first 5. And then Baltimore and the Doyers over 9, felt really good about that one, and it did go over 9 there. 13 runs scored in that game for another 0.3 units. So on the season, 7-5 plus 1.7 units, about $170 if that is your unit total at $100. But let's go ahead and run into this slate. Pretty fun slate. A lot of day games for the first time I feel like all season maybe in baseball. So I'm going to go with an early one here and get this out to you. Hopefully you guys are able to see this in time. But I really like Zach Gallen on the D-backs to go over 1.5 walks, get the 2 walks at least versus this Bravos squad. And I know that Zach Gallen and Spencer Strider is going to be an awesome matchup, and maybe it's not as fun to fade one of them in a way for this game, as they are the top 2 candidates for the NL Cy Young. But it's a different Zach Gallen when he's on the road, and this game is in Atlanta. So 9-0 at home for Zach Gallen with a 1.48 ERA. Very good. Only 9 walks in 10 starts when he's at Chase Field this season. Look at what he does on the road, 2-4. 5.11 ERA, and then he's got 17 walks in 10 road starts. And you look at his last 6, he's got at least 2 walks in 4 of those games. That includes 3 starts where he played against a Blue Jays team that is actually really good at not walking. Or excuse me, bad at walking, I should say. They're good at not walking. Yeah, same thing, the double negative. And he still gave up 3 walks to that squad, who, like I said, not very much plate discipline from those big-time hitters, but he still managed to get there. And Atlanta, they're 12th in walks per game this season. I mean, they're good at everything, so you're going to assume that they walk as well. And then they're 7th in walk percentage versus right-handed pitching specifically. They do hit right-handed pitching super well. So I think this is a good opportunity to Zach Gallen to, even if he doesn't, if he pitches decently and goes long enough, we're going to have ample opportunity to get the 2 walks in a game that I think the Braves will really, they're trying to win this one, man. That you can't lose another one to the D-backs like this, 4 in a row for the Bravos. So I'm sort of backing them to at least get on base versus Zach Gallen via the walk. Hopefully you guys get that one in time. Moving on to the Rays. They are taking on the Orioles in this one, and I am going to sort of fade Tyler Glasnow. I mean, look, his K prop is at 8.5. He would need to get 9 to go over this. So I am going under on Tyler Glasnow, 8.5 Ks, minus 122. That's 0.4 units on that one. I mean, look, I rode with him in the last time out against the Royals, but that game got postponed on the Friday that I gave that pick out. He actually ended up getting 7 the next day, which I didn't take the L because it was a postponement. Played the next day on Saturday. Got 7 Ks, but didn't get over 7.5 like he needed to. So he's gone under 8.5 Ks actually in 7 of his last 9 starts. He's actually finished with 8 Ks a number of times, like 3 times this season. And he last time he played against the Orioles, he got the 7 Ks. That was back in June. I think you're going to be a little bit more cautious with Glasnow down the stretch. Like, he's got to be running up against a bit of an innings limit after coming back from Tommy John this year like he has. So, I mean, he's completed at least 6 innings in just 3 starts this season, which makes everything he's doing even more insane because he's got 12 strikeout totals at times. He's got 11, 9, 10. He's gotten that like 4 or 5 times he's gone over this 8.5 in a pretty short amount of time. But I mean, I still think at this point in the season, there's a little bit shorter of a leash if you want to have him in the postseason really healthy and fresh, and you don't really want to have him on an innings limit at that point in the season, right? So you don't really necessarily need to run him out there for that much. I know that this is a pretty important game, actually, as it's going to be an interesting series with these two teams pretty much knotted up at the top of the AL East. But still, I think, once again, you've got to prioritize Glasnow staying healthy, being available for the long run down the stretch of the postseason more so than this. So I just think 9 Ks is too many to put up as an actual prop line for a strikeout, even for a good pitcher like Glasnow. But like I said, when he's got a shorter leash, he's going to have to go 6 innings with 9 Ks. It's a strikeout rate that he's capable of at times, but I'm going to go ahead and back the Orioles to avoid that in this one and go under 8.5 for Mr. Glasnow. And then finish things off here by going for Toronto and San Diego once again. First 5 money line. I'm going with the Padres in this one, minus 122 on FanDuel and putting 0.3 units on it. Chris Bassett's pitching for Toronto. Do with that what you will. I'm a Mets fan, so I remember him as okay at times, but pretty underwhelming for what we needed. He's really only had like a decent stretch of 3 or 4 starts in a row once this season. That was, I believe, back in May. He had an ERA that was actually about 3.9998. So it was sub 4. But, that ERA on the season is at 4.12 for a reason. It's gotten worse since then. And his expected ERA is actually a bit worse. So the people are just seeing the ball against Bassett. It's always been his problem. If he's going to throw it out over the plate, they're seeing it. And his exit velocity against him is pretty high. As a result, it's harder than it's been actually in the last 3 seasons. When you look back at his comparable numbers, his hard hit rate is up about 6%. On the season from his career total, and then his strikeout rate is also down, meaning, like I said, he's just not getting whiffs from guys. He's not getting swings and misses, and that's going to be a problem when you don't have necessarily the stuff to just jam it past people all the time at this point. He's going up against Blake Snell, and this looks like the Blake Snell of old who won the Cy Young Award not that long ago. He's been hot as of late, like even more so than he's having a good season. I want to be very clear, but incredibly good as of late. Over the last 2 months or so, he's down to having just an incredible strikeout rate of 32.5%, which is once again pretty much where he was at when he won the Cy Young. He's got a not great expected ERA at 3.84 compared to his 2.7 ERA that he's got on the season. But first of all, it's better than Bassett's expected ERA that's up above 4.5. And it's also, something where I look at the defense for the Pods and it should be incredible. It should be really, really good, especially around the infield. But he's making guys miss enough that not even really worried about the ball getting in play like that. When you look at the Pods on offense, they're making a comeback, man. I mean, I'm still not ready to back them. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 97 times this season, shame on me. So I'm not going to be fooled by the Pods again to just say, oh, this is the team, they're back, and expect them to make a actual run at these playoffs. But over the course of the last 3 weeks, they have a 141 weighted runs created plus, only a 12% walk rate. We know that they are a very good walk rate for their hitters. We know that they walk a lot at this point, usually tops in the league right now. 12% walk rate, only a 16% strikeout rate for their whole lineup, and they're hitting their OPS is at 888. So it's been good. When they're facing right-handed pitchers, these numbers have been absolutely incredible. So, meanwhile, you look at the reverse splits and you've got the Blue Jays going up against a lefty Snell. Their lefty splits just not quite as good, just 106 WRC plus. Their walk rate not very good, below 9%, and they are striking out nearly 22% of the time against lefties. So I think in the first 5, it's the way to attack this. I still give the nod to the Padres in the bullpen if you do want to take the full game money line there for the Padres. I wouldn't begrudge you, but I'm all about fading pitchers or betting on what I know, and what I know more each game is how I think a starting pitcher is going to perform against a specific team. So looking at the splits for Bassett and Snell against the righties and lefties, it's a much better opportunity for Snell, who's also just a much better pitcher right now and in general. So feeling good about backing the Pods first 5 on the money line there. And that is all the time I have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Coming back to finish off the week with you guys tomorrow on a nice Friday slate as well. So until we see you next, happy betting.